Sveiki, čia laida Alfa taškas ir aš Aurelijus Bezekavičius. Kai antradienį Vilniuje buvo užpultas ir sužalotas neseniai mirusio Aleksejaus Navalno bendražygis, Lietuvoje gyvenantis Rusijos opozicijos veikėjas Leonidas Volkovas, imta kelti klausimai, ar opozicijai, Rusijos opozicijai Baltarusijos, kurie gyvena Lietuvoje ir kurių čia yra nemažai, ar jiems čia yra saugu. Tai būtent šiais klausimais mes šiandieną ir pasikalbėsime. Pokalbis vyks anglų kalba, todėl kad kalbinsiu du opozicijos atstovus. Vienas iš jų yra iš Baltarusijos, kitas yra iš Rusijos. Noriu juos pristatyti. Tai vienas iš jų yra Ivanas Ždanovas, tai yra Aleksejaus Navalno bendražygis. Kitas yra Franakas Viačorka, Baltarusijos opozicijos lyderis, Sviatlanos Cichanouskajos patarėjas. Pradėsime pokalbį su ponu Ždanovu, todėl kad jis turės atsijungti laidos viduryje. Po to tą pokalbį pratęsime su ponu Viačorka. Hello, Mr. Ždanov, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello, everyone.
Okay, so let's start with your associate, Mr. Volkov. How is he feeling after the attack?
He's recovering now because it was not only physical harm, but a big stress for him, and he's recovering. He can walk now, but not so easy as it was previously. But he's trying to walk. He's trying to recover, sleep quite enough, and I hope that he will recover in several days. Of course, some procedure will be about months more, but he's still he's still cheerful and in a better stance than it was 2 days ago.
Would you say that it's gonna be more the mental consequences rather than the physical ones?
No, physical harm is hard too, because his arm is broken, and he can't walk as it was before this assault. That's why I would say that it could lead to more severe consequences, and maybe Leonid Volkov is lucky that, for example, he was not attacked to his head, but he really has severe consequences from this assault.
State Security Department of Lithuania, they say that the attack might have been carried out by the person who was basically recruited by Russian security services. Was there any signs that this could happen? Did you get any threats before? Were you being followed and things like that?
We received several threats before full-scale invasion to Ukraine, and we were followed by we were sorry and in Vilniaus already, but it was before full-scale invasion. We did not mention anything strange last months and even years. Maybe they have not so much resources to follow us in Europe now. But yes, I think that this version of crime is absolutely real. They can hire some criminal groups in Europe to commit such type of crimes, and it's easier way for them not to spend their internal officers for such type operations, but just to buy some such type of services from European criminal groups, not in Lithuania, but everywhere, maybe Bulgaria.
So would you say? Would you say you feel safe right now in Lithuania after this attack?
I see that Lithuanian government to do many measures to prevent such type of assaults in the future, and we are grateful for Lithuanian efforts for just to secure us and save us from such type attacks.
But do you feel it is safe for you, I don't know, let's say walk in Vilnius streets?
It's not easy to say, because we know definitely that amount of resources which Putin and his entourage can use us, it's enormous resources, and of course we can never be comparable on our resources with resources of Kremlin against us. That's why we can to have I don't know, 5 bodyguards which follow us everywhere. It's impossible, and it's just another type of life. We don't want to use it. That's why we are, of course, think about our threats and do some precautions against it, against such type of attacks. But we, of course, realize that full safety for us is impossible, and we just accept it.
What precautions are you talking about? How are you going to raise your safety concerns? What are you going to go? What are you going to do differently?
I can't talk about it, because it became these measures not so effective if I will talk about it.
Okay, fair enough. Why do you think this attack happened now? Do you think it has something to do with the upcoming presidential election in Russia, which is going to be happening this week, and maybe there are any other reasons? What is your explanation?
I believe that after killing of Alekseyaus Navalno, the leader of Russian opposition, the borders of such type attacks against all opposition, especially opposition abroad, absolutely melted, and this borders is not exist now. And different Russian criminal groups and different Russian services, they are on competition between each other, who will reach us more effective, who will assault us more effective. And I believe that they don't need some special I don't know, special law against us, or special decision from Vladimir Putin against us. It's another level of accepting such type decision, and I believe that they just will do it more often. And it happened after Alexei Navalny was killed. I can't imagine more. I don't know, more after this crime, after killing of Alexei Navalny. I believe another such type crimes like this assault, it's just day-to-day operation for them.
Mr. Ždanov, I know you need to go, so one last question. After the attack, I scrolled down the social media, I saw Lithuanians arguing about Russian opposition people who live in Lithuania, and I saw some people, saying that Russian opposition is no better than Vladimir Putin himself. And some people say that the Russian opposition who lives in Vilnius, they don't condemn war, they think Crimea is Russia, and so on and so on. Can you deny these allegations?
We released, and Alexei Navalny, our team, released 15 points about the situation with Ukraine and about full-scale invasion to Ukraine from Russia. And of course, we recognized international accepted borders from 1992 and from 91. And I don't know that people who are talking about that we are the same, we are like Putin, they're not so deep into Russian political situation, and I believe that maybe I would advise to read more about us and about threats which we have fighting with dictatorship of Vladimir Putin.
Mr. Ždanov, thank you for your time. I know that you need to go, so thank you once again for this interview. Mr. Viačorka, let's talk with you. You're a Belarusian opposition activist, and we heard from Mr. Ždanov that he thinks there might be more attacks like this in the future. Do you have the same opinion?
There are always threats. They also will be, because we are dealing with cruel criminal dictators who terrorize not only their own citizens inside the country but also abroad. And we remember Roman Protasevich and hijacking of Ryanair flight. We faced so many threats and facts of surveillance by Lukashenko's KGB in Lithuania and Poland as well. So we have to take some measures in order to protect us. We must always remember about own safety and security of our own people who are living in Poland, Lithuania, other countries as well. But we also must not overestimate the powers of Lukashenko or Putin. Yes, they have very big resources, but their powers are not limited.
How do you try to keep yourself safe? What kind of things do you do? I mean, can we see you going out at night in the club, in the pub, or is it just work home, and like you're always looking over your shoulder?
Of course, we have released instructions to our workers of the office of Sviatlanos Cichanouskajos and political organizations, because here we have the office, in Poland we have the cabinet. It's like government structures. And for those exposed who are in public space, who are speaking to media, there is much more danger. And of course, it's not safe, to go in dark time, no matter where, in Vilnius, in Warsaw, in Berlin. Always there is a risk of possible attack. We also played some scenarios, what can happen to our activists and our people in exile as well. For example, Lukashenko's embassy can come with a car on diplomatic plates, kidnap you, put you in trunk, and bring to the border, with diplomatic car. It's also not excluded. And
do you think it's possible? Because for me, hearing this, this sounds like an unbelievable situation in a city like Vilnius. For me, as a Lithuanian,
it's unbelievable for peaceful time. But right now there is a time of war. Lukashenko and Putin, they are having war against not only Ukraine, against the whole Europe, the whole democratic world. And they don't have any limits, they don't respect any international laws and regulations. And now they are living in this mode, especially Lukashenko, in the mode of revenge against all Belarusians who stood up against Lukashenko in 2020. And we should not exclude, such things, and we must be careful. We try to work with Lithuanian government, and they provide a lot of support, a lot of information, a lot of insights. They inform us about possible threats as well if they see something, so we are much better prepared.
You also said before the show that you even like Belarusian activists who lives here, they live in different places, and you usually don't even know where your colleagues live. Yes,
we don't invite guests to our apartments. We don't go to guests to each other because we should not expose our people where we live, because it will help the regime. And we are very careful about personal data. We have hundreds, thousands of activists inside the country right now, and our office is operating and working with them on a daily basis. Actually, next week we will have the seminar on protection of personal data, GDPR, how to keep this connection anonymous. So we don't have any more Zoom calls with names on Zoom, but just the numbers. So the regime's people, if they hack something, if they receive the access to this information, they cannot identify these people.
After this attack on Leonidas Volkovas, do you feel more afraid in Vilnius? Is it less safe after what happened?
It's an alarm that we should not get relaxed, because after 4 years of living in this terror, some people get relaxed, they start to live like normal life, that nothing is happening, started to hang out, and the attack on Volkov, it became a reminder, no, we should be very, very cautious, and we should make another check of our own security. In the office of Sviatlanos Cichanouskajos, we are quite well protected, but we must think about all organizations. There are dozens of Belarusian initiatives here in Vilnius, Belarusian centers, Belarusian museum in Vilniaus Gatve, and we should think also about them, how to avoid possible provocations, how to prevent possible infiltration if it happens. We know that the regime is active, and we are trying also to identify all possible agents if they will be trying to disrupt our work.
When you say about the infiltration, do you mean that somebody from the regime, they might try to infiltrate Sviatlanos Cichanouskajos' office, or just try to come and live in Lithuania and maybe do some harm?
No, I think they are directly targeting those politically active groups, like Office of Sviatlanos Cichanouskajos. It's, of course, it's their primary target to discredit Sviatlanos Cichanouskajos, to paralyze work, to seed mistrust to Sviatlanos Cichanouskajos, but they might infiltrate possibly to different organizations.
Like Belarusian organizations abroad, or
Belarusian organizations, yes. We can't say there are many cases like that, and we already developed quite a good system of verification, so no one can come to work, for example, in our office without 3 layers of verification. We verify by our database, we verify with our own intelligence, we verify with Lithuania. So before inviting anyone to work, we must make sure that this person is trusted.
So you've been living in Lithuania for a few years now. Have you ever, you or your colleagues, have you ever been followed by somebody, threatened by somebody? Was there any cases like that?
I received at least 2 times the threats that were coming to my mail and to my phone number, and sometimes phone calls also from Belarusian numbers. Sometimes it's a psychological operation just to intimidate you. I remember there were 2 cases in 2020 during the protests when I felt that I'm followed. And of course I informed Lithuanian side about this situation.
I'm sorry to interrupt. How can you feel that you're being followed? What are the signs?
If you are followed, if you feel that you are followed, it means that you have someone like looking at you, taking pictures of you. Sometimes we have people who are coming from Belarus as well, and they said that they were photoed, they were taking pictures of them at the train bus station as well. So in my case, it didn't finish with everything. I just managed to hide, but I try to be very, very cautious about everything. I'm changing places where I live, so it's not normal life. It's not regular comfort life. Unfortunately, this is the price we pay for our fight.
You said you also received a couple of threats. What kind of threats? What did those threats say?
Usually they say that they know where I live. Sometimes people, or our team, or our friends, they receive threats about their relatives, especially if they have relatives still in Belarus. And it's a threats of punishing or harming their relatives, their beloved ones and friends. Sometimes, usually it's a psychological pressure just to make you feel that you're under control, that you're under the hood, that they know everything about you. They have many personal data about you, so they play these psychological tricks, trying to intimidate you, but our activists are quite trained on that.
I assume that with Sviatlanos Cichanouskajos, the threats, the following, it's even more worse because she's the face of Belarusian opposition. So what kind of threats does she get, and how does she live her life?
She's protected by Lithuanian state, by Lithuanian services, so we are very grateful to Lithuanian government who provided this support, and I hope that she feels safe, but we can't say the same about all other people, because we have hundreds and thousands of activists here, human rights defenders, repressed, former political prisoners. About Sviatlana, of course, she has her husband in jail. incommunicado. For 1 year she didn't hear anything about him, and recently she received the letter that he's dead. And she can't confirm it, she can't deny it, you know, of course it's a psychological pressure on her.
So she doesn't know now?
She doesn't know anything about her husband for more than 1 year, but you know, someone sent epicresis, you know, this letter from the hospital that he's dead. And we started the noise international campaign, and the regime showed that he is not dead. It was in summer last year, but still, you know, it's already 7 months past and we don't have any information, so we appeal to United Nations, Red Cross, international structures just to help us to get more information about political prisoners, because political prisoners are hostages in Belarus, also the instrument of pressure on those who are in exile.
Do you believe that Lithuanian law enforcement has to do more in terms of protecting Belarusian Russian opposition, mainly the people who are mostly seen in public, who are speaking to the media, who are doing press conferences and things like that?
I think they do already a lot, especially on defending and protecting those offices of democratic political organizations. But I think that they have their own analysis who might be potential targets. As I said, you know, they inform us if they see some activities or some possible attacks or planned attacks, so we can be better prepared. Of course, there is no way to make everything perfect. You know, the threat, the risk will be always here. But what we can do together, we can minimize. And this is why we exchange information, we try to share information with them too, so they know better. We try to work together on identifying agents of the regime, because that's very important. We potentially we know people who are coming from Belarus sometimes even better.
Our time is running out very shortly. Do you believe that there will ever be time when you can live a normal life?
Of course, we will come back to Belarus. We will return democracy to our country. Belarusians will have free and fair elections. Everyone will be free, and we will be in good relationship with Lithuania, Poland, all our neighbors, hopefully. And hopefully we will have finally border with Russia, and we will not allow Russia to intimidate us and undermine our sovereignty.
That's what Lithuania hopes for you. Thank you for coming. Taip, tai buvo Franakas Viačorka, Baltarusijos opozicijos lyderės, Sviatlanos Cichanouskajos patarėjas. Ačiū visiems žiūrėjusiems ir pasimatome kitą savaitę. Iki.